Hello guys, I am lucky enough to be the first person in the UK outside of Olympus to have their hands on this here. This is the OMD E-M5 Mark III and I'm going to review it for you and put it through its paces. The camera is currently embargoed and I've got the press release here and look at it. It says right at the top there, top secret. This is a top secret piece of equipment and Olympus have told me that they have a sniper on me at all times. So if I release this before this release date, I'm probably going to be shot. Now, if you're looking for some boring geezer to show you the box and pull it out the box, this is not the channel or video for you. What we're going to do is we're going to put it through its paces in filming and in photography. We've got a model coming later on and yeah, we're going to really put this camera through its paces. So I've got here a very detailed press release from Olympus, but I'm going to read out to you now the key features. And firstly, it is very lightweight and compact. And it is, I can see it here. I mean, it's smaller than the last one, I believe. It's certainly lighter than the last one, I can tell you that. So it's compact and lightweight. It's got Olympus's acclaimed weather sealing thing, and Olympus has always been good at weather sealing, and so that's still got that, which is great. It's got a 20.4 megapixel sensor, which is an increase on the last one, on the Mark II, which is great to see. It's got a 5-axis image stabilizing system. Now that's an improvement on the Mark II, but even that was a really good image stabilizing system. So if you've watched me do Olympus stuff before, I've banged on about that before. The image stabilizing system in the Olympus camera is brilliant. Apparently it's been improved, so it's gone even better, so that's a great thing. The Mark III has got a better processor in it so that it can deal with noise better. It's got a 121 point all cross type on chip phase detection AF system with various AF target modes and settings. Wow, I think that means it's got some really good autofocus, all right, which it has, and I'm going to go through that a bit later on. Iconic design, yeah, we know about that. Again, it goes on here about the weight. It's 414 grams with the battery in, that's the body. I mean, that is really, really light. Here's the killer blow. The Mark III with the 12 to 40 f2.8 Pro lens, which is the one I'd recommend getting, is £1,699 retail when it goes on sale. Now, whether that comes down a bit, I don't know, but that is the current cost of this in the press release. And there's loads more to it. There's absolutely loads more to this camera, and we will get to that throughout the video. So we are going to test it for filming first. And we're going to test it for 120 frames per second, that super slow-mo look, because that is new to this camera and new to the Olympus range, I believe, actually. Now that coupled with the image stabilizing system that comes with the Olympus camera and the f2.8 Pro lens that this has got on it, you should get some really cool effects. Now all we need is a model to film. It's only Rosie, the cover girl to our complete guide to photography book, available on Amazon and on our website, link in the description of this video. So I'm going to film Rosie and yeah, slow-mo stuff, really cool stuff, and let's get filming. Now, this thing does something called continuous autofocus tracking, which is brilliant for filming actually. The only thing is it doesn't do it in 120 frames per second. So at 120 frames per second, you've got to kind of do it manually really, or keep the focus point in one place. We will look at that continuous autofocus tracking a bit later on, but for now, just so that you know, we're going to keep the focus point in one position. We are just going to do some, cool filming and put it all together. Let's go. Let's do a nice little reveal shot. That's it, look out into the distance, that's it, nice, good stuff. Right, now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to get Rosie to do a spin. For those of you that don't know, Rosie is a ballroom dancer, professional ballroom dancer, and she's very bloody good at it, so she should be able to do a spin quite easily. So here we go, I'm going to zoom in. I'm at f2.8 to get that really cool shallow depth of field look. and I've got my focus point, and here we go, Rosie, recording. Yeah, that's it, good stuff, Rosie. Okay, so I've just done a reveal shot, a spinny shot, very slow motion. Now all we need is some cool music and some cool color grading. Play the clip.
So hard to see from the moment we arrive.
So there you go, there is the 120 frames per second feature that this thing has got. It's also got a mic input as well, which I forgot to mention earlier on. So I mean, that's really great because you're going to need that for plugging in external mics and stuff like that. Now, I'm not going to test the rest of the filming settings here, and I'll tell you for why, because it's quite standard. What this camera has got is okay, it's standard, it's probably what you would expect. Doesn't really excel in filming, and here's why. Firstly, that 120 frames per second, it was filmed in full HD, so that's a good thing, but I've got to get my notes for this one because I've wrote it all down. At 120 frames per second, it films at 26 megabits per second, right? That is poor. So if you don't know about filming, you know, that is a really, really low quality film. And I would expect this is 1,700 quid's worth of camera, 26 megabits per second. I know shooting at 120 frames is quite, you know, taxing, if you like, on a processor and that, but I would expect more than that. And it gets even worse actually, because when you're filming at 50 frames per second or 60 frames per second, depending on, you know, where you are in the world, you can film at full HD at 52 megabits per second, right? It's okay, but really you'd be wanting to go 100 plus. Now, the more megabits per second, the better quality the film, and the more you can grade it, the more you can color grade it, pull out the shadows, you know, deepen the highlights and things like that. And I'm going to talk about the competitors to this later on, but just for instance, the Fuji X-T3, that films at 50 frames per second. I think it's 200 megabits per second, I know it's all confusing, so 50 frames per second at 200 megabits per second, all right? You know, go and look that up. I'm pretty sure, don't quote me on it, but go and look it up, and if I am wrong, just please put it in the comments. But there's your kind of difference, you know what I mean? If we go to the full kind of resolution that it films at, which is 202 megabits per second, you can only shoot at 25 frames per second. So you can't get slow-mo at its highest quality filming. Now it films 4K as well. The maximum frame rate for that is 30 frames per second, and that is at 102 megabits per second. That's okay. But again, you cannot produce slow-mo 4K video with this camera. Now, like I said at the beginning, it's okay. It will do the job, and 52 megabits per second is still okay, all right? But, then there is a but. There is one thing that this has got over the other cameras, and that is its size and weight, all right? It is lighter, it's lighter. And if you couple this up with the pancake lens that they do, which I need to go and get now. Here it is here, look at the size of that. That is the Olympus 14 to 42mm pancake lens, and it is extremely light. So if you couple this up with this, you've got a really light piece of equipment, and what that means is you can then use one of these, which is a very small and very cost-effective handheld gimbal. This one is just over 250 quid, right? This is the Fiontech G6 Plus, and then you can get some really cool professional looking gimbal shots at an extremely low cost. when it comes to this gimbal, if you compare it with other gimbals that are like, you know, 900 quid, and a very light piece of equipment that you can carry around with you. So it does kind of shine in that area, and we are now going to put that to the test. Here it is. Here it is now all set up on a gimbal. Now we can get some really cool gimbal shots. There we go. I'll just show you a little bit of how a gimbal works really. It's quite simple. It just tries to keep the camera as nice and as straight as possible. And now what I've got is a camera that is light enough to go onto one of these handheld gimbals. So, you know, it's quite a light, compact kit that you can carry around with you, you know, and get some decent shots with. So now what I need is Rosie. I'm gonna get Rosie back in, and I'm gonna now set this to 50 frames per second. The continuous autofocus tracking should work on that frame rate, and yeah, I'm going to track Rosie with the gimbal and try and do some, you know, reveal shots, maybe go up and down and all of that kind of stuff, and yeah, get some smooth motion with this little kit here. So let's go. Now what I'm going to do is, you know, use this gimbal for what it's used for, and that's so that when you're walking and moving, it keeps smooth motion. I'm going to get closer, but I'm going to actually walk back with Rosie, put the tracking on, so hopefully the camera is going to continually track Rosie in her face. I will walk back, the gimbal will keep everything nice and smooth. It's at 50 frames, so I'll slow it down, and yeah, let's see how that goes. We are recording. So I'm going to come back, so we're going to go backwards, and then I will sort of slow down, and then you will pass me, okay? All right, so let's get closer first of all, and okay, tracking on your face, and let's go. Okay, now walk past. I tell you what, that was not bad, well, say not bad, that was absolutely perfect. It literally just tracked your movements. Impressive, very impressive. So now what I'm going to do is the same thing, a few different typical gimbal shots if you like. Slow it down because I shot at 50 frames, put some cool music over, some cool color grading over, and I'm going to play it to you. Here comes the clip. Okay, that is the filming side of things. Now let's get on to the photography side of things. Now, if you are already an Olympus user, you will know that these are absolutely brilliant at taking pictures, and they're very small and compact, and that is what they are all about. All right, let's go through some of the new features. So firstly, it is still as easy to use as ever. You press the OK button and it brings up the screen on the back, and you know, you get to all of the settings. You've got a dial on the back, you've got a dial on the front, loads of custom options. You know, you can make custom buttons for pretty much everything on this camera, so you know, it's still a very easy to use camera. I just need to get my notes for the other bits. 20.4 megapixels, which I've mentioned already. Great weather sealing, which I've mentioned already. Better processor. So you know, a lot of people have a go at Micro Four Thirds cameras because of the way that it deals or doesn't deal with noise at high ISOs. Well, this has got a new processor in it which is said to be a lot better at processing noise at higher ISOs. So that's another thing that this has got. It's got 10 frames per second whilst tracking subjects. All right, that's quite impressive. The shutter speeds are 1/8000th of a second, which is extremely quick, to 60 seconds. That's quite good. A lot of cameras only go to 30 seconds, so this goes right the way up to 60-second exposures if you're going to be getting into, you know, long exposure kind of stuff. It's got bulb as well, as you would expect. Next page. The image stabilizing system, which you know, which I said a bit earlier on. These Olympus cameras have got brilliant image stabilizing systems. I mean, I've never used another camera that has got a better image stabilizing system. They've got some kind of sensor shift thing, and if you want to be bored, go and read up on it, right? But apparently it's even better than it was before. It can do this, so it says, right? It can give you 5.5 shutter speed steps via its image stabilizing system. I am never going to test that out, and neither should you if you know what you're doing, right? If you know how to use photography, you will just be setting your shutter speeds right in the first place. But it's there if you need it. 5.5 shutter speed steps. I'll tell you what, if someone wants to put that to the test and, you know, put it in the comments underneath, you go for it, right? I'll be interested to see that. The lowest ISO, it's got a 200 ISO native. It does go down to 100 ISO, and the highest ISO on it is 25,600. So it's got a very good range in its ISO. The focusing on it, and I have tested this out, the focusing is absolutely lightning fast, right? It's really, really quick. Yeah, I mean, bloody quick. So, you know, that's another good thing. It's got this thing called tripod high-res shooting, okay? It will give you a 50 megapixel image if you want it, and what it does is it needs to be on a tripod, it needs to be dead still, and it takes 8 pictures as the sensor shifts inside the camera and then merges it all together. Now the downside to that is nothing can move during that process, so really it's suited for product photography or architectural photography, and well, basically anything that's just going to stay still. Right, that's enough waffle from me. We're going to take some photos, right? That is what this thing is made for. I'm going to take some photos of Rosie, obviously. We've got this like wicked setting here, and I'm just going to have some fun, show you the pictures. We'll zoom right in on the pictures. Once I've took the pictures, we'll zoom right into 100% of the pixels, if you like, so that you can really see the detail in the shots. Yeah, let's go, let's just have some fun. Let's have some fun and take some pictures. So now I'm ready to shoot. Now I've changed the settings. I've got my aperture f2.8. I'm going to put my shutter speed at 125th of a second, and I'm going to put the ISO on auto to pick up the slack, and then that frees me up to just move around and, you know, continue to snap away. I've also turned off face tracking because, again, it's one of them things that annoys me. If you like it, you go for it, right? But I am old school. I will focus and I will get the shot, right? I won't rely on any, as good as these computers are with face tracking and this tracking and that tracking, you know, there is nothing as good as my eye, right? I'm gonna focus and I'm gonna get the shot. So I'm putting it onto just single shot focusing, and yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. And hey, let's take some shots. You ready, Rosie?
The place you're from, the wealth of the color of your skin. When all you have burns to the sky, it's all too late when you wonder why. Cornelia, time's been bad. You put smiles on everyone. I think of you and of all that you have done.
Okay, so I hope you enjoyed them photographs. I certainly enjoyed taking them and using this camera. Now, here is my verdict, right? If it's photography you're after, you know, Olympus is great. Always has been great. I don't think there's no argument with that. If you want to take photographs, this is brilliant. This is absolutely brilliant. And these lenses that they come with, you know, they're second to none. So photography wise, absolutely brilliant. Now, filming wise, there are competitors out there that do a better job. And, you know, if I'm going to be frank about this, I'm quite disappointed. I'm really disappointed, in fact, that Olympus have not kept up with the game, with the filming game. There is a whole filming market out there. I am one of them, you know, as you know, I do lots of filming, right? This is a small piece of kit. Now, you imagine if that had this small, good quality, light, robust piece of equipment coupled with top end quality filming, you would have an absolute winner. But when you put this up against its competitors for filming, not photography, like I said, photography is great, but for filming, the competitors are better than this at the minute. And this is 1,700 quid. Well, that's alleged on the press release. That's what it's going to go out at, 1699.99 pounds. So let's talk about what this is up against. All right, I need me notes for that one. So all of these cameras, as of today, because I checked it out before we came on this filming, they are all exactly the same price as this is going to be released at, 1699. All right, first one, the Canon Eos 6D with the 24 to 105 Stm lens. Okay, so that's comparing, and this is 1699 with the 12 to 40 f2.8 Pro lens. So there is one competitor, the Canon 6D with a lens. Personally, I'd go for this one over that one, and that's because the lens on this one is just like superior. It's a much better lens. So, you know, I think this one wins on when you compare them two. The next one is the Fuji X-T3 with the 18 to 55 XF lens, and that's an f2.8 lens as well. Again, it's currently right now at this moment in time on sale for 1699. The filming capabilities of the Fuji is better than this. It's as simple as that. You look them up online, You know, the Fuji is more powerful when it comes to filming. When it comes to photography, I mean, that's up to you really. You know, this is as good as, well, like I said to you, this is as good as anything out there. So it will come down to the fact, if it's just photography you want to do, maybe with a little bit of filming, and you like Olympus, this is the one to go for. All right, if it's filming that you want, it might be you go for the Fuji one. And then you've got the Panasonic Lumix DMC GH5 with the 12 to 60 f2.8 Leica lens. That is a blinding filming camera. If you was looking at just filming, you would definitely go for the GH5 there, without a shadow of a doubt. The lens, obviously that comes with a Leica lens, but these Olympus Mzuku lenses, they're just as good as I think they're just as good as the Leica lenses anyway, so I wouldn't be worried about that. If it was a toss up between them two cameras, you've just got to think to yourself, do you want to film or do you want to photograph? All right, it's as simple as that. Photography, I'd go for this. For filming, I'd probably go for the GH5. I will be putting links in the description of this video to all the products that I've shown in this video. So the links will be in the description of this video, right? Now, I hope that this has been a good review for you. It's been the first one out, I believe, because I'm the first one with this camera, and I do thank Olympus for trusting me with it and trusting my judgment. And I hope that the review has helped you out. Don't forget, if you want to learn photography as well, grab our book, which is Rosie's on the front cover of. Come and see our online courses over at theschoolofphotography.com. We teach everything over there: studio lighting, Photoshop, photography, Lightroom, you know, the lot. We teach it all. Like this video, share it with your friends, you know, give us a comment. Tell me, actually, this is important, tell me what you think. What do you think on this new product and how it competes in the market. I'd be really interested to know that, so put that in the comments please. Thanks for watching, and remember, learn more at the School of Photography.